Hello, everybody. Welcome to this special live coaching webinar brought to you by NaijaontheBall Podcast and Gbagada FC and also Football IQ. Today, of course, special guest is Coach Akinyelu of Gbagada FC. Coach Yelu, nice to have you with us.
I'm glad to be here once again.
So, just to get things started, some of us know of your club, some of us know of you, but for those who don't, just to give them a bit of background and to give them a bit of understanding, give us a little background of your football club, the league that you're playing in, and just a summary of how last season ended for your football team.
Okay. Gbagada Football Club is a small community club based in Gbagada, Lagos, Nigeria. Gbagada Football Club is a typical grassroots club, started 2013 and currently playing at the third tier football league in Nigeria, which is called Nationwide League One. Also at the moment, we're participating in the private league called Creative Championship. I'll get to that when we further this discussion. And for us last season, when you say last season for us as a club is 2018, 2019, because 2019-2020 season didn't happen. You understand? It was cancelled due to the pandemic. So when you're referring to last season, I would like to go back to 2018/2019, which was our debut season at the Nationwide League One, the third tier. We got promoted from the fourth tier, and our debut season at the third tier wasn't too good. It took us almost 9 games before we actually won a game, and that game, confirmed us, securing our third tier status. So it wasn't a good one. So as we go on, I'll go more into that.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Of course, you mentioned the COVID. Obviously, the COVID affected all of us, and in Nigeria, sports was put on hold completely. So, as a coach and somebody who's coaching a senior team, what did you do to meet those challenges that COVID brought? What were some things that you did during the period to meet the challenges?
Well, COVID hit us at Gbagada FC real bad. Before the break, we're preparing for the 2019-2020 season, the NLO season, and we are just a few weeks to kick off. As at that time, before the break, we had a solid squad, so to say. I got in players, and we were just at the end of, finalizing and making sure they signed to the club before that happened. And yes, it was a long 7 months break for every one of us, but that was time for someone like me personally to go back to school. You understand? I got myself busy. And in all reality, even though football just resumed officially, our boys have been training individually, maybe close to 3-4 months ago. All the boys were back to the street. That's the truth. But we as a club, we didn't resume. But all the boys were already playing as of 3-4 months ago. So what did we do? Just regular, weekly, daily check-in on players, making sure they are doing the right thing, even though they're trying to get things done on their own. And we used that opportunity to, take them to school. When I say take them to school, there's a difference between playing and coaching. So we used those time to really talk about some things, being able to, put them through that part. So we're having regular WhatsApp sessions, you understand? Those are WhatsApp sessions where we, put out a video, we break it down, they analyze, I hear from them, So all those things kept us busy as a team.
Thank you for sharing that. I completely understand. It's very difficult. I know maintaining control over the players during such a period it can be quite a trying task. So we've got past the COVID period. We're headed towards the new season. As the new season approached, what were some of the new goals? What were some of the goals that you had for the season, and how did you set these goals?
Okay, as a small community club playing at Tortia, our main objective year in, year out is to progress to the next level. You know, that's the first thing. Everything we're doing in the club is just to take the club from third tier to second tier, which is the NNL. So the 2020-21 season, that's still our main objective. You know, everything we do, we just want to see if we can get the team from third tier to second tier. So that's our first, our main goal as a club. So for the new season, in order to achieve that, you know, I need a strong playing squad. And I said COVID happened. In the 7 months break, I had about 5 players that was about to finalize them joining the club fully. And before the break, we were looking very strong. But COVID happened, and, you know, players and the managers, they said those boys needed to go to MPFL. And that's the disadvantage of playing at the top tier. You don't get the best legs. So it makes it real difficult when it's time for recruitment.
So with that said, you know, you've set your goals, you've set your targets. You know, now that we know that, you know, sports is about to resume, a question so that coaches can get an understanding. How long did you have for preseason?
Okay.
And how were you able to prepare for the new season? What was your main focus for the preseason?
Okay, we had just about 3 weeks for preseason. Like I said earlier, we are already playing in a private league of 8 clubs at the top tier, and that league is going to last for about 5 months. They're about us playing close to, I think, between 16 and 19 games. So that's going to take us about 5 months. So we had only 3 weeks thereabout to prepare for that league. You understand? The official third tier league won't kick off till February, March next year. And from what we're hearing, we won't be able to play the home and away format. It might just be a round robin competition format. So for us, my focus on the 3 weeks was to bring in new players and bring in the kind of players that can just fit in right into what I intend doing my playing style. So my focus for those 3 seasons was trying to bring in new players and figure out what my best starting level would be. And we didn't dwell much on fitness because when we resumed, the boys were in good shape. You understand? The boys were in good shape, so we didn't dwell much on fitness. Well, my focus was trying to, you know, blend the new boys and seeing if we can get a good starting level from what we have on ground. So that was what we did in those 3 weeks.
So in order to give people a bit of background or understanding as to, you know, how you're operating, how you're planning, how you're setting up, could you talk to us a bit about your current coaching setup? How many coaches do you have available to you?
Okay.
How do they have specific roles that they perform for you? And then I'll follow on from there. But
Okay. At Gbagada, as a coach, I normally try to keep maximum 25 players, you understand, in my squad. I personally don't think I need 30 to 35 players, maybe because of the number of games we'll play. But personally, from past experience, I don't think I need more than 25 players, so I try to keep to that, you understand. So working with me, the setup at training, I have my assistant coach, I have a goalkeeping coach, I have a fitness and conditioning coach. So it's just 4 of us, you understand, that's managing the 20-something players we have. So normally our training sessions, the way I work personally is, if this week, it's a weekly thing. If this week, like, for example, when we resumed the 3 weeks session, in as much as we're trying to figure out our first 11, our best 11, we started working from behind the defense line. You know, we took out the first week to touch up some things at the back line. And I share that with my coaches a week before. We know what we're doing for 5 sessions straight. We have an idea of what we're working on. So I share my sessions with them. They have a concrete idea. They know the coaching points. And when we get to the pitch, you know, at times I might need to break up the drills into smaller groups. I take one, and I know the other 3 coaches understand what I'm trying to achieve, and they help me with that. So that's how our training sessions go. It's something that we all work on together. It's not something I do alone, even though I'm the one most of the time that come up with the sessions and what we want to work on. But it's something that they all understand fully, and right there on the pitch, they help in coaching those points.
So, you mentioned about your squad size that you have, and you mentioned about your preference of squad size. So explain to us a bit about how did you come to that squad size, and how many players do you have per each position? And if you have more in a certain position, can you explain to us a little bit why that is?
Okay, just a second. I need to plug in my laptops.
It's all right.
Sorry.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, great. Sorry. One more. Sorry about that. Okay, I think it's on now. Yes. Okay. Like I said, for me as a coach, I've been learning on the job. This is my maybe 7-8 year being the head coach of Gbagada Football Club. The 2016 season that we did so well. The 2016 season that we did so well at Lagos FA Cup, I had a tiny squad of 19 players. And actually, throughout that season, I made use of about 16 only. And we got to the quarterfinals. We got accolades. We did so well. And if I go back to my past experience playing the fourth tier and the third tier, I've always made use of less than 20 players. You understand? Once I believe in some players, they are not injured. I think I'm one of those coaches that stick to the same set of players. I don't believe in rotation because we don't have so many games. You understand? We don't have so many games. So I don't rotate my squad, so to say. I don't rotate my squad. So hence I just figured out 25 is more than enough for me to, play for the season.
So in terms of actual positions, is there a particular position that has maybe more players, or do you try to balance the squad number across the different positions?
Well, as a team, scoring up front has always been a huge challenge. Defending, we are always as good as it gets. We hardly concede more than 2 goals. I can't remember when last we've conceded 3 or 4 goals, you understand? But going forward has always been a problem, and we've not been able to solve that even up until now. So for the new season, that has been our focus, bringing in more players that can add more quality to the squad. So if I'm to look at it this season, I'm sure in the attack, I have currently two forward. I have about 3 wingers. That's just 5. And for this season, I'm looking to settle for 3 forward and 4 wingers. So that's 7. You understand? So as I speak to you, I still don't have a complete squad to, challenge for the season, but there's still time to bring in new players.
So to go even deeper into your squad, one thing often that I hear from a lot of coaches is that there's a certain attribute that they like all their players to share, or a certain trait. Is there a certain attribute that you look for or you like to have in players that you recruit for your teams?
Well, something I look for in players is truly not connected to football. You understand? Playing at the top tier here in Nigeria is not financially okay, so to say. So when players come around, the first thing I look for is the player self-motivated. You understand? Is this a player that is looking to go above this level? I'm not looking for a player that feels, Gbagada is the place to be. I'm looking for someone that understands that Gbagada is just a stepping stone for me to get to the very top. So I look for that inner hunger in players. You understand? If I don't do that, if you come to my sessions, I no longer do open trials because that doesn't work at all from my past experience. So for this season, I've made use of scouting system such a way that I only, give trials to recommended players. So for me, aside your ability, your technical ability and all of that, I want to be sure that you're someone that wants more from football. You're someone that sees Gbagada as just a stepping stone, not your destination. So if I see a player that feels, playing for Gbagada is all in all, then I don't think you know what you're doing, because we're not even close to being the club we're supposed to be, or we're not playing at the top tier is not the best for any serious-minded footballer, if you get what I mean. Yeah.
I understand. Again, just to get another understanding of your squad profile, do you have a particular age group that you aim to have within your team? And in terms of recruitment of players, are you a coach or a manager that looks to buy players that fit into your own tactical system? Or do you look to create a tactical system that fits around the players that you have available?
Okay. The first question is if there is a age limit, or aside being the coach, I double as a manager. So every decision we make, at times there's a business angle to it. You understand? We don't bring in players in for bringing sake. And I keep telling people, even though we play the third tier, we're not a developmental squad. You understand? We're a squad looking to compete right away and move on to the next level. So there is no restriction to age. Like the new players we unveiled a couple of weeks back, last week I think, is 23 going to 24. You understand? And the other player is 18. You understand? So if you look at it, we're not looking at age. We're looking at players that can come into the club and help us achieve our objectives on the pitch. Either you're 18, either you're 24, either you're 25. So far you can be a plus to us. We don't mind. There are certain ways that most academies or grassroots clubs are set up here, which is to try and produce this young talent and make money off them. Yes, we're looking at that. We might have a few young talents in the squad, but for us, it's about competing first. Getting to the next level. So there is no age restriction. What was the other question again?
The other question is, are you a coach or a manager that looks?
Yeah. Okay, I get the question now. Now, for me, because we don't have that time, we don't have the luxury of time. Like I said, we had just 3 weeks preseason and we started the private league. So I'm one of those coaches that have my own fixed playing style. I hardly bend or change things. I find it difficult to change. If something is working, I find it very difficult. So for me, I look for players that fit into what I want to do. You understand? If you don't fit in, I don't think I have that time to work on you or create something else to make that works for that player. So what I look out for is I have a certain way I set up my squad. I have a certain way I want them to play. So I just look for players that fit into those roles.
So you have mentioned to us a bit about your recruitment. Could you take us a little bit deeper into that? You mentioned you don't do open trials. How often do you look at new players, and how many times do you look at a player before you sign him?
Okay, I used to do open trials before, and I tried it for 2 seasons, and nothing positive came out of it because the truth or the bitter truth is 95% of players at our level, they are not meant to be playing to make it pro. They're meant to be playing for fun. So when you do open trials, they all come with their boots, and you end up checking 400 players, waste about 2 weeks, and at the end of the day, you won't find just one player that's good enough. You understand? So that's been a huge problem. And since we stopped that, we've been able, like I said, before the break, I had a very strong squad. I had 5 players that I was sure of that the addition to the team would take us to the next level. And that was because, these are players that are actually good. But here we are, out of the 5, only 2 is with the club now. 3 didn't agree to sign due to personal reasons and all. So basically, for us, this season, we don't have, yes, there's a transfer window, but, in Nigeria, it applies to, I think, MPFL only. Let me put it like that. Let me say it applies to MPFL only. The NLO season, the third year doesn't start till like March, April each year. So you have the luxury of time to keep looking at players, you understand? So, for example, now, the NLO, the third year league will kick off maybe February, March, according to what we're getting from them. So that means I have time between now and February to still bring in new players. So I have time to check players from time to time, but only based on recommendation. And whoever is bringing the players knows what we have in the squad. So you have to bring someone better than what I have in my squad. So that has helped me wasting my time doing trials for every player that comes my way.
You mentioned that you lost some good quality players just before the start of the season. Were you able to replace them in terms of ability? And if not, what were some ways that you've been able to fix the team to maybe not so that their absence won't be felt so much?
Well, one of the key roles that I thought we figured out was the striking role. You know, we've always had issues with that. So I found someone that was really good for our level, you understand? And I was so positive that his addition was going to help us. Only for him to say he has an opportunity at an MPFL team, so he needs to go pursue that, which I totally understand. And how have we fixed that? We've not found someone as good as him. So what we've just done is we have two currently in the squad. We just need to keep working and pushing them and boosting their confidence, and hopefully they can deliver. And yeah.
Of course, you know, your club is based in Lagos. How does Lagos impact your ability to recruit and your ability to retain players?
Well, the good thing about the club is maybe because of the social media buzz around the club, players know if they're at a Gbagada football club and they do well, maybe scouts and agents will definitely see them. Yes, we get lots of calls, I want to be part of your team, but the problem is we're still a tiny club based somewhere in Gbagada, you know, very, very small part of Lagos. And to a certain extent, that has hindered, you know, you get calls from players from all over the country, not, you know, the northern states, the east. But because we're still a small club, we don't have the financial power to tell the player that pack your bags and come for 2 weeks trial or something, someone we don't know. And, you know, most of these players, they don't even have, they have nothing for you to, you know, reference before you tell them to come over. So most of the time when we get those calls, I just say, no, don't waste your time, don't waste my time. You understand? There's nothing to see about you. I don't know if you're good. I don't know anything about you. So that has hindered players coming into our team from outside Lagos. You understand? But within Lagos, Lagos is like the center of excellence. You have loads of clubs, so we're all fighting for the best legs. So to a certain extent, it's difficult to, yeah.
So you mentioned obviously that, you know, the Nigerian transfer window and the transfer market. Do you as a club in your division, do you have a transfer budget that you're working towards? Or are you looking to sign players on a free transfer?
Well, what we've done so far this season, we've brought in 2 players. One was on the free, one was we got one from an academy in the neighborhood. So what we've done is just reach agreements with this club, you know, like sell on. We are a small club, we don't have that budget. But what we've done this season is to attract players, you know. The NNL clubs in Lagos, we have an idea of how much they pay players, you understand? So we tried matching that to attract some good legs to the club. You understand? So that's what we've done. And to a certain extent, it got us those 2 legs that we brought in.
So I think a question that a lot of coaches will be interested to know the answer to is, you know, you've spoken about the difficulty of being a smaller club in a very competitive market, in a very competitive state. What are some things that you have done to retain players? How have you been able to retain them?
Well, the thing about that is players know when the club means well, when the club really cares about them. You understand? So for us, when we bring in those players, we try our best, you know, aside what we had to their game on the pitch, we try to give them enough tools to market themselves to move on to the next level. You understand? We really care about them. So, you know, there's this thing, how do I say it? It's a Yoruba adage. I don't know how to translate it.
Go for it.
They say Efiniwa. I don't know if someone that can help me translate it. You can't hide or something like that. So as a club, when the players come into the club, they know that we truly care about their welfare. We truly care about their career. We want them to go to the next level, you know, while helping the club achieve our goal. You're also trying to achieve yours. So that really has been working for us.
So, you know, you mentioned that you signed some new players. And of course, you know, with new players, there's always the time, you know, one of the most important things is to get them to settle and integrate quickly. What are some things or maybe some tricks that you have done to help them settle into your team?
Well, even though we just unveiled them, they are not so new. You know, I told you before the lockdown, we had a squad we're working with. At least both of the players, they've been with the club since January till March before the lockdown. So to a certain extent, they understand everything about how we want to play. And, since we resumed, we spent, I think, a month together now, over a month now. And, when you have a problem, you have to look for a solution. I told you getting players in this short period of time didn't work. So as a coach, I had to go back and call one of my, old players to return back to the club. I think we'll be making that announcement later tonight or tomorrow. Because I don't have the time to look for the player that will fit in. So since there's a player that understands how I want to play, I'd rather go bring him back to the club. So that's what we've done. So if you look at the 3 new players I've spoken about now, they are not new. They are new, but they are not new. They spend time with the club because these are players that understand how I want to play, understand the philosophy of our playing style and all of that. So there's no time to start working on new players, so to say.
So for just to close up on the recruitment section, for coaches, who are listening and maybe they're going out there also planning to recruit players soon, what are some key lessons that you have learned from when you have attempted to recruit players and when you've actually recruited them? What are some key lessons that you've learned?
Well, what I normally do is, as a coach, I'm always being honest with myself and the players. You understand? And there's something I know players know. When a player comes to a new club, for example, if a right back comes to my club and you train with my team for a couple of sessions, you would know if you're better than the right back you met in my team. You understand? So for me, what I do is honesty. We're a small club, you understand, but being honest with the players is key for me. If you're not good enough, I'll let you know. But I'll let you know in a good way that you don't feel bad. Then I'll let you go. You understand? So for coaches that are trying to recruit, I think we need to help these players more. When I say we need to help them more, it's best we have to be honest with them up front instead of these boys wasting years trying to play what they would never make pro at. You'll know a player that can make it pro when you see one. And you know some that have no business trying to make it pro. So what I do is, in a good way, I try to let them know football isn't your way. Or, well, like I say, there is a standard for each tier. I have some players in my squad that they know that once we make it to the second tier, their chances of making the 25-man squad is almost zero. You understand? So there's a player for the third tier level, there's a player for the second tier, there's a player for the MPFL, there's a player for the fourth tier. So it's about knowing that this player belongs to a certain level. And if the player is okay with that, then fine.
So now that we've got a bit about your squad profile, we've got a bit about the players that you've recruited. Can you talk to us about tactics? So how does your team play, and how did you settle upon this style of play? What were the factors that came in to influence how you want to play?
Okay, well, it's no news that I also tried making it pro, but I was not good enough as a player, so I had to drop that about maybe over 10, 11 years ago. So for me, for my playing style, it's quite simple, football is not that difficult, but players make it very difficult. You see a player trying to move a ball 40 yards when he can actually make a pass to the player at the other hand. So for me, what I do is simple. I play from the flanks. I want to move my balls very fast to the wings and just drop the ball into the box. And I do that because it's obvious that the wide part of the pitch is always less packed or less busy. And the players on that hand can see the pitch better and be able to make better decisions and put in the balls effectively. And that affects how I recruit players also. I'm not one of those coaches that love midfielders or players that like to razzle-dazzle on the ball, dribble. I'm not a big fan of all of that. Mine is let my ball move, let my ball get to the flanks and put in the ball into the box for me. That's what I want. So basically, that's how I play. It's as simple as ABC. The players understands that, and you won't find players that spent maybe some time with me trying to do the tiki-taka. I'm not saying tiki-taka is another style of play, but I'm not a big fan of that. I prefer the high tempo paced game. Yeah.
So, of course, given these tactical instructions, is not always something that players buy into. If a player did not agree with your style of play, or a player consistently goes against your coaching instructions, how do you handle that as a coach?
Well, that only happens with a new player. My whole players understand my way already. And what I do is at training sessions, I try to explain why I'm doing this. And when the player is new, I allow the player do what he feels is right. Then when he has done it and he's not been, the result is wrong, I'll now pause and see, this is why I want my game to be played this way. Do you think this is better? Do you think this can work? So after some time, they begin to, reason with me that, okay, this is why you're telling me to go this way, not because you don't like the way I play. I'll tell them, yes, okay. It's all about us, trying to, create opportunities for us to score. So I asked them the question, like a DM now in my team. The new player is a DM, for example. When he got to me, he's all this player that is very skillful. He would wait for you to dribble you. He would wait for you to do something skillful. And I keep telling him, by the time you wait for 2 seconds, my players have run into offside. You understand? They are moving. It's always, I want you to keep moving. So I explained. After some time, he understood why we want to play that way. He understood why he can't afford to make mistake in that region, such a way that will concede. You understand? So with few months of being with us, he understands that get the ball, spread the ball, let the ball keep rolling. That's his primary job. Don't overdo it. So that's how. So if I find a player that doesn't believe in that, I just have to explain and convince and take my time. But my time also is limited. If I see you can't do the way I want, I take you off and look for someone that can play what I want. It's as simple as that.
So in terms of your tactics, how are you able to review the success? How are you able to assess whether they're working on the field?
Okay, well, in as much as I don't like to change things too much, my debut season at Totia taught me that what works today is not guaranteed to work tomorrow. Playing at the 4th year, we played the formation of 3-5-2, and it was so effective. It was so effective in the sense that when we're defending, it turns to 5-4-1. You understand? The 3-5-2, when we're defending, turns to 5-4-1. And when it turns to 5-4-1, because my wing backs understand clearly what they're doing, at the end of the game, they're always, zapped out. But they defended with all of their heart, and we didn't concede any goal. We're very solid, very compact. So when I tried that at the 3rd year, it didn't work. You understand? It didn't work because we didn't get the goals. At the 4th year, maybe because of the quality of the teams we played, the 3-5-2 worked. We'll get a couple of goals and we'll sit back in 5-4-1 and defend all 3, you understand? But when we got to the 3rd year, that didn't work. You understand? And during the season, I was trying to now look for the solution, and that messed up everything. We're used to training 3-5-2 for over a year. All the boys understand everything about that. And during the season, the first 3 games, we couldn't get a win. And I was looking for solution. And, and that's one mistake I made as a coach. When I was looking for solution, I spoke with the players, and they came up with the idea that, they're always so tired. They have to track back 5-4-1. That let's do this, let's do that. And when I answered and tried to play to their tune, it was even worse. You understand? My team, we hardly concede. We had the way we set up, the way I set up as a coach. No matter the kind of attack, I always have minimum 4 players behind. I'm one of those coaches that are very cautious of not conceding. So no matter the kind of role we play, if you look at my team, take a picture, you always see minimum 4 players behind. Minimum 4 players behind. So at the 3rd year, the 3-5-2 didn't work, but it was too late. We couldn't get any result. We're struggling, but we're losing very slim. 1-0, 1-0, 0-0-0-0. We had, I think, 4 draws. 0-0-0-0-0. We couldn't score. That was a major problem. We couldn't score, but it was difficult to score us. And once the team scores 1, it becomes a problem. So we lost about 4 games. We drew about 5. We won 1. But that was still very poor by our standards. So for me, it's about, getting what works for you as a coach. The earlier, the better. We've switched from there. We've learned that time. And we've switched to a formation that now makes us play the way we want to. And it gives the players more time on the ball and all of that. So we're hoping for a good 2021 season, the camp is very positive, and we've started with a win. So I think we're fine so far.
So, of course, we want to talk about your training. We want to talk about your training sessions. So, first and foremost, how many times a week do you train, and what type of facility do you train in?
Okay. We are a typical grassroots club, but maybe a bit organized. You understand? So we train on a sand pitch, partial sand, partial grass. It's a grass pitch, but we can't maintain things in Nigeria. We don't own the facility. You understand? We rent it. So it was luscious green grass, I think 2-3 years ago, but in less than 6 months, the grass disappeared and it's now sand. But it is what it is. We manage it and it's still effective for our training sessions. So that's the facility we make use of. And because we play at the top tier, we are not a professional club. All these players have side also. You understand? I have someone that is a sound engineer. I have someone that runs a Bet Nigeria shop. I have someone that does what's it called now? Works over the weekend, serving at parties. You understand? These guys have something else they do because the pay they get from the club is not too much. So because of that, we boxed in our sessions to Monday through Fridays. We train every day, Mondays through Fridays, and we leave the weekend off, except it's a league match. We don't play friendlies at weekend. We don't do anything on weekends. We leave it for us to rest and do other things. But when it's a competitive league match like the NLO or the private league, they make themselves available.
So for coaches, maybe to get a better understanding, I know you had a lot of disruption because of the COVID, because of the league itself. Sometimes they do delays. How far ahead do you plan your training sessions?
Well, it's only the preseason that I plan ahead like that. But once the season starts, it's weekly. When I say it's weekly, for example, we played our first game last Sunday. We won 1-0, and our next game is this Sunday. You understand? From the Tuesday session, I started planning for the Sunday game. You understand? So for me now, because we have a competitive match week in, week out, my training sessions are planned weekly now based on the opponent.
That's actually interesting that I was just about to ask you about that. I was going to ask you whether you plan for your opponents or do you train to focus mainly on your own idea? And since you did say that you plan for your opponents, how do you get knowledge of your opponents? Because I know in Nigeria it can be difficult because these things aren't always accessible.
Yeah, what we did at the last NLO season was we needed to attend games, you understand? And to a certain extent, that format works a bit. I can't be at all of the games. We don't have the funds. You can't go and cover someone else's game. So I depend on what the scout at that game is telling us about the team. But some games we get there ourselves and we make the report ourselves. But for this 2021 season, I told you we're playing a league of 8 top-tier clubs. All of the games are covered. All of the games are available to all of the coaches. So that makes my planning against my opponent tomorrow very easy because I was able to watch their game over and over, pick out their movement, pick out their set piece routine, pick out their corner kick routine, pick out their defensive setup. I was able to pick up all of that and use that to prepare for my match against them all through the week. You understand? So now we don't know when it gets to NLO time, when it gets to the NLO season, depending on your opponent, if you can get that. But for that, we still need to go out to those games. But for this other league, all of the games are available for you to, work on the coach.
So, of course, you've talked to us about your own specific idea that you have in terms of philosophy and in terms of style of play. And you've also talked to us about your understanding of the league. Is there, from your knowledge, is there a particular skill or attribute that you like to train that you like to spend time training to improve for your players based on the league that you're playing in?
Well, I keep saying I'm more of a defensive coach. I hate to admit that, but that's just me. It comes naturally. I spend hours, making sure this is how I want to set up. This is what you need to do. It's so etched in their memory that if a player does something wrong, they know what I would say. You understand? So for me, I've spent so many hours working on that, and we've seen the result as a group. So going forward, like I said, as a sport, we know we don't score too many goals. It's difficult. If you go track our record, once in a while we'll score 2 goals. It's mostly lone goals, you understand? So we know that is our problem. So we figured out that for this next 3-4 months, we really focus on that and see if we can improve our goal scoring, chances when we go up front.
One thing I found really interesting, obviously, you are somebody who likes to do a lot of things which people find innovative. One thing which I found very interesting is that your club signed a deal with a local gym. Can you tell us a bit about that, the reasoning behind it?
Well, in as much as we are a typical grassroots or typical community club, we're trying to do things the right way. And it still boils down to we not having the financial power to do all the things we're meant to do as a club. So we don't own our own facility to own our gym or to own our space. What we just needed to do was partner with someone that has all of that. So and we now have access to that gym anytime we want to make use of it. So it's simply just to help the players, help the players' fitness level, help players that are recovering from injuries. It's just to help, that we believe having that partnership with that gym would help reflect on the field of play. So basically, it's still about us getting it right on the field of play.
One thing I think is a key part of working at the lower levels is motivation, as you've mentioned it already. You say you look for players who are intrinsically motivated, they're self-motivated. So, of course, you look for the players that are self-motivated, but also as a coach yourself, you also have to motivate these players. Maybe what are some things that you do to motivate your players?
Well, for me, I think my players, they really look up to what I feel about them. They really look up to what I say about them, and I've noticed that. So what I've done is, like I said, we have, the current striker in the squad has been with us for over a year, and he didn't score a goal last season. And I was looking for someone to replace him. You understand, like him dropping to the bench and bringing another striker. I found one before the COVID, but that one didn't sign. So I have to come back to him. So what I've done, and I promised myself, is I needed to be more patient with him. I needed to believe more in him. I needed to help him during the training sessions. And we've been working together for 4 weeks now, and he has scored 2 goals in 4 games, even though it's from the penalty spot. Goal is a goal, you understand? And what I've done is I take out time, as a coach, my personality is also part of what I coach. And one of the big problems is I'm not so outspoken. People will know that it's only when it comes to football that I talk. Outside football, you can see me seated for somewhere for 4 hours without saying pim. My colleagues at NIS that schooled with me they definitely know what I'm talking about. I don't talk. I'm a loner. Let me put it like that. I'm a loner. So it has affected my coaching in a way that I don't have that personal one-on-one relationship with players. I keep it strictly professional, and I know that is not helping too much. You understand? So what I've done is with this Peter boy, with that striker, I came out of my shell and said, let me see if I can get into his head, get into his space. And I've been forcing myself to do that. And the result is obvious. On the field, he wants to die there for me. You understand? He wants to prove that, okay, you believe in me that I can do it now. I'll get you those goals. So for me, motivating depends on the individual players. For example, my current captain is one of my key players, and we played a couple of games, and he performed way below his standards. I went really hard on him because I know him that he can handle it. If I try to go hard on that, my striker is going to go off. You understand? He's going to go up. He's going to lose his confidence. He's going to go up totally. So I prepped that one. But my captain, because I know he's got the heart for it. When he played below, I went real hard on him. I even threatened to drop him from the starting 11. And here we are, the first game. He came back to life. So I think motivating players depends on the player's personality, the individual. You should know what works for this one and what works for that. So for me, I think that's what I've been doing. And there are some of them at times I have to go, we're playing at Tortia, so it's still about money for some of them, So some of them outside the normal regular bonus, before the game, a day before the game, I can just chip in something. If you do this and do this for me, I have this for you. And on the match day, it goes all off. So different thing for different strokes for different, just do that.
One question I think will be interesting to find out is when you're coaching your team, what does your style look like when you are coaching a training session? Are you a vocal coach? Are you directive? Are you commanding? Because I know you said that you have a heavy focus on defense. So in order to get the defense right, what type of style do you use in order to achieve that?
Well, I think it's both, the way I work at my training sessions, like I said, we've been working on the attack for about 3 weeks now because we know that's where the problem is. The way I do is, for example, if, okay, this is recorded. I wanted to talk about the game we're playing on Sunday, so don't let me go there. So, for example, if we're working on a crossing and finishing drill, and I'm working on the strikers or the wingers movement into the box, I give my coaching points. I tell you how to make your run. I tell you don't mirror your players' run. I tell you you have to look out for your players' run to know what part of the pitch you want to hand. And once you start and you're not doing what I want, I stop the game. I come at you. I repeat myself. And when I'm correcting a player, I tell others that, yes, I'm correcting Peter, but during the game, my attacking midfielder might be in that position. And once you're in that position, you're no longer an attacking midfielder, but a striker. So once I'm making that correction, at times I stop the game for all of them to listen to what I'm trying to bring out of that scenario. So I do that. At times I use the question mode, which is, okay, you did this. What did you do wrong? What were you supposed to do? And they give me back the answers, the right answers. I'm like, why didn't you do it? Coach, now pressure, now you don't deal me. So at times I allow them give me the solution, and that has been work. So I mix is a combination of everything. At times I don't help them solve it. At times I wait for them to give me the answer, and most of the time they actually know the right thing. You understand? But they just find it difficult under pressure. They just zero off and do what comes to their mind first. So I don't.
So of course, when you're managing a senior squad, there's different things that happen. How do you get the players to gel together? How do you get them to be cohesive as a unit? To get together, to understand each other, and also how do you maintain discipline within your team?
Making them play as a team is not that difficult. I've told you, I don't know if it's good or bad. We're all coaches here. I'm one of those coaches that stick to 14, 15, 16 players. You understand? I'm not a fan of my starting. For example, my DM got a red card. Without even saying who would replace it, all of them already knows who dropped, they know everything already. So I stick to maybe 15, 16 players because I trust them and I know they know how I want to play. So when I train, as a matter of fact, I don't know if it's good or bad. I focus more on those 15, 16 players. You understand? I focus more on them, so well. They understand all I want to do. But at times that has beaten me because there are times that those 16 players, one is injured, one is red carded, then I have to now fall back to the one I've been ignoring on match day. You understand? But I'm still working on that and trying to see how to, bring everyone into it. But when you talk about discipline, for me, maybe because I double as the manager and the head coach, it's quite simple. There are some basic rules. If you don't stick to it, you don't play on match day, even if you're my best player. And that has been working for me as a coach. None of my players miss training session. For example, we train Mondays through Friday. If you miss one, you're not making the squad on the weekend. So it's a total waste. Once you miss one training session without a valid reason, though, you understand, players can decide that we played on Sunday. Coach, I don't tire. I know if you come Monday recovery session. If you know if you come on the recovery session, you know if you play next week with that. Football is not meant for people that are lazy. You understand? If you're lazy, then you should maybe come to this part of the pitch, the coaching part. You don't, though it's not easy being a coach, but you know, it's not very physical compared to players running around for 90 minutes. So the discipline aspect of the team, for me, it's quite easy, maybe because I double as the manager. I have a total say. I don't have to report to someone. So it's easy. They know that what I say is final, and they know that they can't take what I say to someone else to plead on their behalf. So for me, it has been easy, you know, keeping them in check.
You know, you mentioned that you have a set of players that you are comfortable with and you're confident in. So with that said, do your players have specific roles within the team? Do you tell your players ahead of time, these players are the starting level, these players are the first team, these players are going to be benched, and so on?
For my current squad, they kind of know the starting level without me saying it. You understand? That's me. That's what I train. They kind of know it. So the fun part is trying to get into the match day squad for them. You understand? Trying to get in the starting level. They know, and there's something about it. Players know when a coach is being biased. They know that they are not fools. They know that. And for my so-called starting level, you have to always, you know, prove to me that you deserve to be in that starting level week in, week out. So they don't joke with it at the training sessions prior to the match. If you joke with it, you drop off to the bench. So every weekend, the bench or the rest of the squad is still looking for a way to get into the 18-man squad, 18-man list for the match. So that in its own right makes it fun for everyone. The starting level, most likely, they know that, okay, I'm good enough. And that boils down to me not having a squad that has solid depth. You understand? You know, I have a squad that the starting right back knows that, okay, this is just a backup for me. It's not good, but I've not found players at that level. So for me, to a certain extent, they know that they will start. And those on the bench also fight to, you know, come on or make the match day list. So I don't tell them prior to the match. I wait, everybody, you prepare for the game, but they already know that, okay, most likely these are the set kind of, this is a possible starting 11 and this is a possible bench. They can figure it out.
I think that point that you mentioned is very interesting. That you mentioned that the players are, you know, because of the level that you're playing at, you don't have access to that amount of talent where you can have several players per position. Does that ever negatively affect the team when players are aware that, oh, I'm better than this person in my position, and realistically the coach is not going to play him ahead of me?
No. It doesn't affect. This is what I do with my squad. Before the beginning of the season, if you're joining me and I see that you're not as good as my right back, for example, now, I signed a new right back, but he's not in the squad yet because he's injured and we've not unveiled him. That is my preferred right back for the season. But I have an old player in the squad that is currently playing that position as we speak, and he has done well. But there is a one-on-one discussion I have with players. This is my plan for the season. This is who I trust for the season. You will definitely get playtime, but it's based on this, and that. Are you happy to stay? Are you happy to fight for that 10, 15 minutes? If you tell me yes, then they accept their role before the kickoff of the season. So that way there is no bad energy within the squad. You understand? For example, now, my DM got red carded. I'm going to make use of another player. So I say to them, I can still move my players around and not make use of that player. If you're not ready, I won't use you because the main player is injured. No. It's about you being able to help us on the pitch. So all of these things, what I do is I have this one-on-one conversation with all of the players. You know what I want to do for the season. You know my preferred player. But if the preferred player does not play well and you're ready and you're knocking, why not? I'll give you the shirt. And I keep saying players know when they are better than each other. So it boils down to they trust my judgment. I'm not being biased. You understand? If I put out a player for obvious reasons, maybe the player is better than you or the player is doing what I want on the pitch.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Of course, you've mentioned a few times during our discussion about your dual role, about how you are both the coach and how you are also, the owner in this position. Can you tell us a bit about how maybe some challenges in this role and some of the benefits of the role as well?
Well, personally, it's been very rewarding being the owner and the coach. I came into football as a coach first, not an owner. You understand? I came in as a coach, and when I left NIS, the NIS that people don't really trust their judgment, or people say, but funny enough, I came into industry not as a professional footballer. We have some coaches that are ex-pro. You have that confidence already. I was just a football lover. You understand? I was not someone that had that authority. So, but NIS, Coach Additional, gave me the rudiment of coaching and gave me the confidence to speak to players. And though what I've done so far, I've self-developed myself. You understand? I go out, read, do all sorts. But it all started from NIS. So I'm just chipping that in for those of us that still abuse Nigeria. I can see Valentine Chika. I don't know if you're here. I know you from the next generation group and you don't like anything about us in Nigeria. Can you say something? Can you unmute yourself, sir? Valentine Chika.
Hold on.
Okay. Okay, is it with us?
Hold on. Let me see. Okay. I'll give him a second to try and you can carry on talking whilst he unmutes himself.
Okay. Yeah, for the dual role, it's been very rewarding for me. I've been learning on the job, all I have are coaching badges, I have my advance from NIS, I have my diploma, I have my CAPC, and I have cover. Everything I have in football right now as I speak to you is just coaching related. The management aspect comes naturally for me. You understand? I don't have any basic education in regards to managing a football club. As I speak to you, though, I'm getting one already. I have I'm running a master's program with Sports Business Institute to get my first management whatever certification. But everything I have up until now is based on coaching. I'm currently running a master's with what's it called now, MVP School of Coaches in Spain, and that's an experience. I don't know. It's money's worth. I've been on courses, and for me personally, that's been the best so far. For me, that I've learned on as a coach, MVP School of Coaches. So for the dual role, it's very challenging because you work round the clock. It's not just 2 hours on the pitch. I work round the clock. I work up until 4 a.m. At times I have just few hours sleep. At times my wife will come at the middle of the night, close my laptop that you need to get few hours because I get on the pitch as early as 6:45 a.m. At times I'm still up to 4 a.m. And when I said I'm up to 4 a.m., not coaching, is running the team. There are two different things. Coaching is separate, but managing the team, everything about the team, I do it personally. Not everything, but, making sure everything works. So the Gbagada FC we see online, or the Gbagada FC that we've been able to show to the world, is just a team of about maybe 4 or 5 people. You understand? We're a small club, but the 4 or 5 people working behind the scene, we work hard, round the clock to make sure everything looks good. And we're hoping as time goes, we'll grow bit by bit and we can bring in more hands and some work can go off me. But so far, it has been rewarding for me personally, not about the recognition, at least now with what we've done with the club, was it earlier this year? I met with you, Coach Deji, and that was a trip that was sponsored by NFF.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a trip that was sponsored by NFF, sent me to the UK to understudy how football academy is being run in the UK. And I got back and the report I gave them, I said, I don't think we have the funds to run the way they do because it's all about money. Not as if we can't do what they do, but we don't have the funds. An academy runs on a budget of £20,000. That's a category 4. That's the lowest academy from what's it called, Premier League to League 2. Runs on a budget of £520,000. How much is the biggest MPFL team running on? You understand? So I told them easily that If you want to run like that, we need to get in funds into the industry and all of that. So for me, it has been rewarding. It has been rewarding, challenging, yes. But, the positives you get from, running the club and coaching. For me, people tell me to leave coaching, but I can't, because I think the coaching aspect is what I enjoy doing the most, the 90 minutes on the sideline, you getting back home, not sleeping on it, after the match, you're reviewing the match in your head, you're watching the games again, all of that, the adrenaline that comes with it is what I enjoy. It's crazy at times, but I enjoy that part of football, and I don't think I want to leave that anytime soon.
Well, we've come towards the end of our discussion. I will open up question and answering for coaches to ask whichever questions they would like to ask. But just before we do that, I just wanted to find out from you, what is your long-term goals, or what's your long-term vision in terms of yourself and the club?
Personally, as a coach, I think I want to get to the very top of the career, and I've chosen a career path in achieving that. And what I see is someday I want to play at the MPFL, which is a top tier league in Nigeria. Someday I want to take my club there, play at that level, and hopefully, qualify for CAF competitions, play at the CAF Champions League or the CAF Confederations Cup, and through that road, play the FIFA World Cup. And as I speak to you, no African club has won the FIFA World Cup. No African club has done that. So I still think it's something I can achieve personally in another 10, 15 years. That's one of the goals. Then I'm not one of those coaches that dream of coaching Man U. It won't happen anytime soon. So I know my part. I want to make my name, coaching in Nigeria, just like the South African coach in Egypt now, the one at Ali.
Pizzo.
Yeah, that's the biggest name on the continent at the moment. And he didn't go to Europe to achieve what he has achieved. You understand? So for me personally, I think I can achieve so much, coaching here in Nigeria, and from there on the continent, and from there get world recognition. As a coach, that's my dream. That is what I'm working towards. But for my club, we have a lot we want to achieve. Someday, the long-term plan is to, become an MPFL team, like a non-MPFL team, own our own 30,000 capacity stadium within the community, you understand, and build a huge successful business around the club. So that's it for Gbagada FC. Yeah.
Thank you for all the insight you shared with us, Coach. We are going to open up for coaches to ask questions now. If anyone has a question, they can either put their hands up to ask the question physically, or they can type the question in the chat box. I think we've already got one question here. Somebody asked, who is the toughest team that you have faced, and how did you prepare for them?
Okay, that would go back to our debut season at the NLU2. College Edwin, if you're familiar with football in Lagos, College Edwin is one of the top academy in Lagos, you understand? And at that season, they were the biggest club, so to say. They're an academy, but they're quite big in terms of money and all of structure and all of that. They're quite big. And we're just that brand new grassroots club trying to join the league system. So that particular match, we were the underdog. And I was lucky to have watched 2 of their games. And I knew as a coach that we didn't have, if we were to match their talent one-on-one, we're not close to what they have. And what we did was simple. Throughout our preparations to the game, I kept on telling them they are better than us, but we can get a result if we stick to our plan. You understand? We knew they had these PC, very skillful wingers. They had all of that, the midfielders that could move. You understand? They had solid defense. And like I said, we prepared for the game knowing that we were the underdog. But at the sessions, we knew that we could get a result if we stick to our plan. And what we did was simple. I know some coaches might not like it, you might call it negative football, but for us, it was about the result that year. And what we did was simple. I worked on, throughout that week, we worked on a block of 4, like the back line for the midfield 4, and we left 2 attackers. And all through, we made sure that the back line and the midfield block was compact, and we're forcing them to take the ball wide. And prior to that game, they normally do fast combinations play centrally to create chances. So because we blocked their usual way of playing, they were forced to use the wings that they're not used to. And because of that, they couldn't get a goal. They're not used to playing that way. So we were not ready to play, but we're just ready to frustrate how they play. That was the plan, nothing else. That was what we did. And we held on to that. And lucky us that day, we took a counter-attack and it led to a penalty, and we got one goal, and that gave us the promotion ticket to go play the playoff. What's it called? Playoff that got us to the third tier. So I'll say that's one of the toughest games I think we've played as a club.
Somebody else asked, what qualifications or what experience does somebody need to have to be a scout for your team?
Well, in Nigeria, there is no qualification in Nigeria. IPSO, that's IPSO, just came to Nigeria, I think, last year. So if you're asking for qualification, I don't think you need a qualification to be a scout. It's your football knowledge that matters. Your football knowledge and you knowing the Gbagada FC squad in and out. When I say your football knowledge, you know where we lack. We tell you the kind of player we want. For example, if I'm looking for a 9 now, for example, I need a 9 that is comfortable on the ball, that can drop and use the ball. I don't want a 9 that is all about power and just finishing. So if you understand how we play, if you understand the kind of player I'm looking for, and I trust your football knowledge, you understand? And how do I trust your football knowledge? Maybe if you recommend a player, we'll talk. I see your understanding. At times you're watching a game and, coaches analyze games differently. Something might happen there. I just listen to how you analyze it. If it's not in line with my belief or my understanding of football, definitely we can't see players the same way. So if I'm seeing a player this way, you're seeing a player that way, I wouldn't trust you enough to bring me a player. So you really don't need any qualification to work with the club. It's your football knowledge and your knowledge of the current squad we have that matters.
So, of course, one question that I have is, there's some challenges that are unique to the Nigerian environment in terms of handling players. One problem which I've noticed that a few coaches have complained about is that sometimes they try to sign players and the player's already attached to somebody, or the player says they have a handler or they have so-and-so attached. How do you deal with such issues? Or when you try to speak to players and they are a player that is in that situation, what do you do?
Like I said, in as much as we're a small club, we're a business. So I don't waste my time. I don't waste the player's time. If you come to me, that's the first question. And how do you check, what's it called? What's this platform now? What's this FIFA platform where transfers?
Oh, the domestic transfers?
Yes. So you can easily confirm if a player is free. You understand? So when you come to me, the first thing I ask you that if you're free, they always lie at times. But if I have interest in you, that's what I do first. I put your name in there. If I don't see you under any club or anything, that means you're free, irrespective of whatever anybody's telling you there. Because if you're attached to someone or to a club, you will find it on there. So if it's not on there, then I know, okay, we can work together. You understand? So that's the first things first I clear. For example, I didn't get to sign some players because we didn't reach agreement. And that's another thing I've started learning now on the job. After wasting about a month trying to work on a particular player that had interest in a real talent, but when it was time for negotiations, the thing just didn't work. And it was a total waste of my time. So I'm also learning on the job. If I see a player I'm interested in, I think the negotiations should be ongoing as we work. You understand? So if it's a player that I'm sure I want to have to my squad, within a week or so, I should, let the person know and let's see how we can tidy things up.
Thank you for sharing that. Coach Dumbre asked, how long do your training sessions last?
Typically, it's a 2-hour session. We train 7 to 9. But me personally, my sessions, a typical session for Gbagada FC is we arrive there 6:45, players change, 7 a.m. on the dot, we kickstart. I do a very short team talk. I try not to talk more than 5 minutes at times, but it depends on what happened prior. If it's a match we lost in a very terrible way, At times, the start of the session is about talking, but not too long. I try to keep it within 5-10 minutes. You understand? Just to focus and tell them what we're about doing for the week. Then from 7:10, my fitness and condition coach takes over the warm-up session. He takes it for about 20-25 minutes. And while he's working on them, the goalkeeping coach also takes that 20-25 minutes to work on my goalkeeper. Then when they are done with that, they come to me. Then I work on my own particular session, which most times lasts between 60 minutes and 60 to 75 to 90 minute max. That's why I said our session lasts 2 hours max. I don't do anything outside 90 minutes personally. I don't.
Got another question here. You talked about being brutally honest with players and letting them know their chances within the team, as making it as a professional player. Has this approach always worked for you, especially with reserve players and players who do not make the 14 to 15-man first team and the deadwood players that you have to let go?
Well, so far, like I said, if the feedback you're giving the player is genuine and real, they know you mean the best for them. You understand? I'm a top-tier club. If I'm telling you a top-tier club, I'm not NPFL, I'm not NNL. If a top-tier club is telling you you're not good enough, well, there are rare cases that can still make it pro. But trust me, if a top-tier club is telling you you're not good enough, I don't see how you want to make it to NPFL or even... And they know, that's the thing. They know, the players know. They know they are good enough. So I just don't tell them. I break it down, tell you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, and you are 24, you are 27, you're 28 already. Don't waste your time. Come on. You understand? Age is not on your side. In Nigeria, most of them, they are 27, they claim they are 20. I'm a Nigerian, I know when you're not 20. So I tell you, you understand, I'm a Nigerian, so I know. Just tell them, this is how I analyze it. If you come to me, and you're 27, 28 already, you understand? And I ask you what position, maybe you're a winger, you're claiming you're 20. I tell you you're 28. That means you have maximum 7 more active years to play. In my own head, at 35, your career is going now as a footballer. So I tell them you have maximum 7 years to be active. And at 28, you've not even played. That's another thing. Most of them have not played second or NPFL. And at that age, you just want to kickstart your career at a top-tier club. And even the top-tier club is telling you you're not good enough. That says it all. Football is not meant for you. You can play for fun. We have the Sunday League. We have the grassroots tournament. I'm not telling you to leave football. I'm just telling you, play for fun, enjoy it. You can play at third tier. You can play at fourth tier. There are about 20 third-tier clubs in Lagos. You can still get one that will sign you. But be honest with yourself. Start looking for something else to do. You understand? So it's just honest feedback, and they know that it's real. Not as if I'm telling them because I hate them. No. They know it's real. They don't. What I normally tell them is, once you're alone at home, you watch football on TV. You've been here. Can you play better than the person you see on TV? If the answer is no, don't deceive yourself now. You know. So they just take it, and some of them, I've seen them, they still play. I don't tell them to leave football, but I just tell them, that dream of getting to the top, and you're 25 already, you're 27 already, drop it, man, drop it.
Got another question here. So, Gbagada FC's style of play, from your description, is direct, pragmatic, and functional. Yeah. Even after scouting an opponent's weaknesses, do you always stick to this style?
Well, I stick to my style 95% because that is how I understand how to play. That is what we've been training. So at times in preparing for an opponent, for example, now an opponent, we found some certain weaknesses around them. We're able to come up with solutions that will still be our style of play and also stop them from playing. You understand? Except the only reason I would want to change that is maybe the opponent's strong points is, for example, maybe they are good at defending crosses very well. They have very tall center backs. They are very well organized in defending crosses. Then I might have to look for another solution for that particular match. But I'm playing top-tier football, not NPFL. Teams are not that good, you understand? So it works just fine.
I've got a question from Jide the Great, but I would like him to ask it since I'm not too sure.
Okay.
It's not that clear. Um,
I'm going to mute myself if you want me to.
yeah, I've just yeah, yes.
First of all, I'd like to say a big up to Coach Akinyelu.
Thank you.
You in the diaspora has been following you for quite a while. What you're doing is really exceptional. God bless
Thank
you
you.
for Nigeria. My
you.
question to you, based on some of the things you said earlier, because I was actually listening about you having a straight approach. You're quite direct in your approach, get in the box, and then that's it. Do you think that that way of coaching can kind of discourage us in terms of producing footballers that are quite exceptional? I mean, when you look at the history of African football, going back to the days of Abedi Pele, to JJ Okocha, even recently to Mikel Obi, do you think that if we continue with that kind of approach, because in my opinion, I think it's very westernized, do you think that we're stifling creativity in a way? And it doesn't, I'm not trying to criticize you. I think that what you're doing is good for you, but what I'm saying in general, do you think like it's really going to stop us from really discovering some more exceptional talents that stand out, like the number 10 role, if I should say?
Okay. Personally, I don't think what we do at Gbagada can stop Nigeria from producing such skillful or great midfielders. You understand? What works for Gbagada works for Gbagada. We're just one out of maybe 1,000 clubs in Nigeria. You understand? True. Off my hands, we have teams that still play that way. You know, we have the FC Bumaru, that's the back academy. They still play the tiki-taka games very well. We have Collins Edwin. We have teams in Lagos. I don't know about outside Lagos. We have teams in Lagos that play that way. But me as a coach, I'm not a fan. You understand? I'm not a fan of that style of football. You understand? It works fine. I like the high tempo, send the ball, let the ball move. That's mine. Let the ball move fast to the wing and, you know, get the ball into the box. Let's try to connect it. That's what I do. That's what I know. And that's what I live and dream. So for me, I don't think doing that 22 or 25 players will stop Nigeria from producing that number 10 or number 8 or so. I wouldn't say it's affecting the future generation in any way. I don't think so. It's just I have just one squad. And this same question, I think I'm not sure if the coach is on here. He asked me that when you start your B team, will I condition the coach in charge of B team to play my style? And I said, see, if I'm creating a B team, an academy, maybe like a U21, the first reason for doing that is hopefully groom a couple of players, maybe 3-4 years, and they progress into the first team. I said, will I be playing this way? And my B team is playing another way. What's the correlation? Because the whole idea is to get this player from B team into my team. That's the first thing, or maybe then sell them off. So for me, I don't know, that is my own understanding of the game. If I have a B squad, the coach will have to mirror what we do in the first team. You understand? And listen to the age. I said U21 to U16. That's not when they teach you the basics of football. You understand? You know, you should learn the basics way before 16 years old. You understand? So if I'm having a B squad, the B squad will still have to train the players the way the first team plays, such a way that if I get 1 or 2 key talents from there, I wouldn't have to start all over.
Again. Okay.
You understand? So that's just me, and that works for me. And I think so far it's okay. It's okay, but for me so far.
Thank you for answering that. Have you got a question, Coach DJ?
Yes, I was just going to chip in based on what Coach Akinyelu has just said. I'll first of all say, thank you very much, Coach Akinyelu, and thank you very much, Deji. It's been an enjoyable session. I've learned a lot just listening to Coach Akinyelu, just to see the bigger picture of how things are over there. So my question, from what Coach Akinyelu just said about the B team, because I'm more or less, towards the youth development of football. So I lean towards that side a lot because of the nature of my work. I was going to ask Coach Akinyelu, do you have a plan in place to come up with a youth system at the club in the future where you're going to have that sort of like the B team or youth pathway for the club in terms of like training the players, grooming them, to progress into the A squad or maybe, for future sales. I was going to ask Coach Akinyelu, do you have something planned for now or for the future for Gbagada FC?
Yes, we have. As a matter of fact, we're supposed to kick that plan off for 2021. We want to have a B squad of the real under 21, 16. And I say the real, that's real age 21 below to 16. You understand? We have plans for that, but we have challenges. Everything is based on how much funds we can put into the squad. We have just first team, and the way we run for our level, we've not made a major transfer such a way that maybe €1 million came back into the club or something. So we're still at that, level of still getting to that point. So the B squad for us is something we have plans to do. But when you look at it, at 16, 17 in Nigeria, most of these kids are still in secondary school.
Yeah, correct.
That means if you're going to have that kind of squad, it has to be evening sessions, and it boils down to infrastructure also. Within Gbagada, we only have one pitch that it's not even a standard pitch, and the usage on the pitch is too much already. And another thing is, most of these pitches around, once it's 6 o'clock to 7, you can't use them again. So if there was
light,
if there was light, maybe the B squad can always train maybe, let's say 7 to 8:30 or 9, and they go back home. And from what I've learned, most of the players stay around the club. You understand? So I'm trying to see how we can replicate that here, but we've not finalized the plan. But it's something we're really looking forward to. 16 to 21. I've seen players. People have sent players to me at that age, but they are not ready for the first team. And I just let them go because, you're bringing a player for me for development. I'm telling you, I just want to play to get result. There is no time for me to, you understand? So I let us go. So, but we have plans of starting that developmental squad real soon. But hopefully, maybe the 21-22 season, we'll get that going.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. We've got time for one more question. Has anyone got a final question just before we end? Let me see. Oh, okay.
Hi, Coach Yelu.
Yes, hello.
You made a statement the other time. You said in your third tier or your fourth tier league. I'm a football manager, I'm a football scout, and I'm a football intermediary here in Lagos. And I come to most of your matches. I watch most of your matches. You said something. You said most of the clubs in the third tier that you play are not that good. I'm going to be sincere with you. I don't like that statement. I watch most of the third tier matches, and we are getting there. We are trying. I've seen
sorry.
Like Man City, and
When I say no, I'm talking about the standard of play. Standard of play at the total, you can't compare it to the MPFL or any.
I know. I agree with you. But you guys are doing something great. You can't just put it like you guys are not doing something. You are doing something great.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take that.
Thank you for that. We'll answer probably just this last question and then we'll end there. Okay. Someone asked. Coach, did you have a question?
Oh, I was going to ask a question, but you can read out the question. It's okay. I missed most of the session, but I was just.
Go ahead. Since you're already here, ask the question.
Oh, okay. Please, Coach Akinyelu, you made mention of certain leadership style that I feel is too rigid. Don't think this has a role to play on keeping the players happy and also getting results for your team, because I feel you should still be a little bit flexible with some of your managerial style? Because you said you hardly change. You are just rigid. You stick to your guns all the time. So I am wondering if you don't think this affects the result system of your team.
Well, thank you.
Correlation.
Yeah. You know, like I said, my coaching style boils down from my personality, my belief as a human being. And for me personally, I don't know, it might be wrong. The way I've lived my life, I make sure that I try to stay happy by myself. I don't give people the power to make me happy. When I say I don't give people the power to make me happy, yes, you can affect me in a way, but no. Me being happy, me staying happy boils down to what I want to do. So likewise, I do that to my coaching. Yes, you might need, how will I say it now? I don't think, this might be wrong. You understand? I tell you that I look for players that motivate themselves. You understand? Someone that is just here that knows that I know what to do. I'm not that coach that is ready to pitch you, or I don't know. That's just me. I'm not good at that. What I'm not good at, it's that bad. I'm not good at physical connection. I don't shake my players. I don't touch my players. It's just me. I communicate rather. You might say it's wrong, but I don't know how to do those things. I don't hug. I don't do all of those things. But they know I care because it's football. There's something I normally say. Yeah, football brought us together. After football, I have other things to do. You have your things to do. It's not that I'm breaking out of the shell, trying to get one-on-one relationship with these players. Now, maybe if I do that this season, let's see what happens on the field of play.
Sorry, you just keep talking about you. Don't you have like an assistant who you think can help you manage this aspect of the team? Since you don't favor player closeness, then you can also delegate your assistant coach. So what is his role? I don't know, maybe you have mentioned it, but I missed it.
Yeah.
But please, what is his role in the team if you have to
actually, we had Fola, you know, Coach Fola was the perfect person for that role. I had one assistant coach that all of the players were very comfortable talking with, going to, and he was like the middleman. You tell him things, he gets to me. You know, you understand. So, but Coach Fola left us. You know, he's now in Abuja with his own academy, and the current assistant coach maybe he does not have that kind of relationship with the players, but I totally understand that we need to get that into the squad, and we'll figure out the way to get that done. Yeah.
Thank you, Coach. Just before anyone asks any more questions, Coach, do you have? When we've spent longer than we were planning to. Do you still have time for a bit more questions, or should I cut it now?
No, we can take a couple of more questions.
Take a couple more questions. Okay. Does anyone have a few more questions? I see another one here. Let me read this.
I do though.
Oh, okay.
Coach Akinyelu, it's Gina the Great once again. Just wanted to ask you about the Creative Championship. If you could just kind of break it down, because I think it's a wonderful concept.
Okay.
How did it start, and what's the ambition here?
Okay. From my past experience playing the NLO, you know, at the fourth tier, we played about maybe 6 games. At the top tier, we played 11 games. You know, how do you train for 10 months and play 11 games? It doesn't make sense to me. And, these competitive games make training sessions more fun than just training and waiting. And the way the Nigerian system is, the league doesn't start till like March, April. And we resume like October. That means we'll go for about 5-6 months without playing any competitive game. For example, now the 2019-2020 season, we didn't play one competitive game on our books because the Cup didn't hold, the NLO didn't hold. You know, COVID happened around March, but normally every year that's when, you know, FA Cup starts around April, the league starts around April, May. So we resume October and we go 6 months without a competitive game. But what we've done as a club before now was we normally play 1 match per week, a friendly match, just to keep the team going till it's time to play those 2 major competitions. So during the break, I knew I had to look for a solution. The businessman in me, popped up. For us to raise revenue, it's only the home games that we've been using to get something into the club, and the 5 home games in a calendar year does not make sense for us. We don't make enough. So I was looking for a way to get more home games, such a way that way we can raise more money for the club and to keep the club running. And I just figured out that I think we can, create a league that would be very competitive, that would have a good organization. And I sat down during the break, and that's during COVID, the first month in COVID, March, I just figured it out, did planning on paper, and said, let me reach out to top-tier clubs if they'll be interested in this. And here we are. And funny enough, that competition you're saying, we did meet in person. Everybody, it was always Zoom meeting like this that we did.
Wow.
Executing and all of that. And lucky us, we got the approval from NFF. And what we're trying to do is we want to create a league to mainly engage our players. Instead of waiting 6 months before we play NLO, we want to be done playing the Creative Championship, which will give us about 19 games. You understand? That means our players, for example, when you want to market a player, you can easily see a player in League 1, League 2. You see the player stats, maybe 15 goals, but when you check the number of games, it's close to 60 games. 50-something games. You understand? League 1, League 2, they play 48 or 40-something games aside the competition. Yeah. You understand? Aside the cup competition, but at the end of the season, you see them playing close to 60 games. And when you look at the goal tally, 15, 60 games. But here I am, I'm playing 11 games. And you ask me, that your striker way they talk about, sorry, pardon my feet. That your striker way they talk about, how many goals score safe now? I say 2, but you won't know that he played just 10 games. You understand? So he already looks like a poor player. So the idea is to get more competitive games, not just competitive games, games that if I tell you this player scored 15 goals playing 35 games, I have video evidence for all of these games. I have stats for all of these games. So what we did with Creative Championship, we brought on people, we partnered with Coral Stats. That's the company doing the breakdown of the start of all of the games, where we'll be able to track the best, top dribblers, assists, goal scorers, everything about football. The only thing we won't be able to do is distance covered, because we don't have that what's it called, GPS, whatever, for all the teams. But every other thing, the league will be able to cater for that. And we just we hope this league would grow bigger than this. And the thing for us is we want to give our players more competitive games to have better stats when we're trying to market them. For small clubs like us, one of the best way of bringing funds into the club is when you make a transfer of one of your key talents. You understand? So that's what Creative Championship is trying to solve for us. And if you look at it, we are 8 small top-tier clubs, and in just match week 1, we've received over 40 inquiries about how our clubs want to join us. But obviously, we can't expand that fast. So next season, we might, increase to maybe 12 or 16 clubs. We don't know till then.
Brilliant.
Oh, Coach Yelu, I have one more question to follow up.
Okay.
I think it was mentioned that there were some minimum requirements for the teams that were in the Creative Championship. What were these minimum requirements?
Well, the first target was you have to be playing at top tier. So whatever stats or video or anything we're turning out still makes sense that it's top tier football. So that was the first thing. You have to be a top tier club. And because of the distance, because of the money, we don't have that much money. We made it that it's only teams within Lagos and Ogun State. Ogun State is just about 90 minutes or 2 hours max from Lagos. You understand? So we made sure that it's just teams within Lagos and Ogun. You have to be playing at top tier. Then you have to be ready to take some basic things seriously. And you would see that for Gbagada FC, one thing that has worked for us is we have played, or we've been able to tell our story the right way using the social media. We don't have the funds for the regular traditional media. That's expensive, but social media is free. So we've been able to tell our story using the social media space very well. And that's one direction that we've encouraged the 8-member clubs of the Creative Championship team to look into and start doing. I'm sure by Monday or so, you'll be able to access the league's website where you'll get all the information about all the players. You'll be able to watch all of the highlights. You'll be able to watch all of the full games. You'll be able to see the stats of all of the players. So I think after the first season, that should help all 8 member clubs, achieve what we've set out to do.
Thank you for sharing that. I think we should finally end here, but if anyone has a final question, sorry, close out, feel free to ask that question. I'll give it 1 minute. Oh, Coach DJ, another question?
And I was just going to say thank you very much to you, and thank you very much to Coach Yelu. It's been a great insight. I really enjoyed the session. And I want to say to Coach Yelu, keep up the good work. I pray that the Lord will reward you, even that I don't want to bring faith and religion into this.
Amen.
Well, I really pray for that for you. And Deji, keep up the good work. I've really enjoyed the session. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thank you. Well, we are going to end on that note. Thank you to everyone for joining us. It has been a fantastic session. Thank you to Coach Yelu for for gracing us and sharing all his insight with us. Coach Yelu, do you have any final words to say?
Well, it's been fun, sharing my experience with coaches, like minds, and I know we're all trying to do our part to change the face of Nigerian football. Personally, I think I'm doing my part with my club. And with Deji Oseni is doing something great with this podcast that he's been doing. So I just want to say, wherever you are, especially to Mr. Valentine, I really wish I could hear his voice. He has lost hope in Nigerian football. I totally understand where he's coming from, but well, we have to keep pushing. Maybe someday, things can change. That's just it for me.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone for listening, and hope to join us again next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.